Hey guys, and welcome to a new replay commentary. We're gonna talk about LiLi today. I've played her recently in Hero League, which was a very interesting match, and one of my favorite matches to play this season, I think. Before we go into the replay, we're gonna talk about LiLi, her talent builds, and what you should know about the little panda. So, if you don't want to watch that, you can click into the YouTube video description, and I normally link the time to jump directly into the gameplay. With that said, let's start with her kit. On Q, she has Healing Brew, heal nearby ally. It prioritizes heroes. That means it's not a skill shot. You basically can press Q if you have quick cast enabled and never let go, and she will just heal whatever target is close to her. You have a little indicator around her, which you will see in the replay, that shows you who's going to be healed if you press Q at that point. And it is a very easy to hit spell, obviously. That being said, prioritizing heroes is difficult because you basically have to position yourself to heal the correct target. So for example, if you have two allies that are low, you will need to position yourself closer to the ally that you want to heal, rather than just being somewhere around in the backline, for example, to just heal with a target spell like Rhaegar has with Chain Heal. Her W is Cloud Serpent. Summon a Cloud Serpent on an allied hero. You can also summon this on you. This attacks nearby enemy heroes every second. Each attack deals 26 damage and heals the ally for 20 and lasts for 8 seconds. There's several talents that you can use to increase this healing and the attacks and everything. Cloud Serpent is currently not a talent choice for, you know, basically a build that you go with Cloud Serpent. Just because the heal is also very dependent on hitting things, and then you also don't have direct input on, you know, when it heals. And once you've put the Cloud Serpent on somebody, it is on cooldown, which you can reduce, but it's still 12-second cooldown, while the heal only has 4-second cooldown. So the direct heal is a little stronger, but Cloud Serpent got buffed with the rework that she had, that LiLi had, and yeah, there we go. That's the new functionality basically. Blinding Winds. Oh yeah, by the way, before we continue, I was under the impression, I think before the rework, the Cloud Serpent attacked with allied attacks. So basically, if you attack somebody, the Cloud Serpent attacked as well. So that was, if I remember correctly, very good on high attack speed heroes. Now it doesn't matter how much the allied hero attacks the enemy. It's just important that you put it on the target that has, you know, lost health or will lose health, so that the Cloud Serpent can actually do something. Blinding Winds is her E. Throw a cloud of wind at the two nearest enemies. Again, not a skill shot, you just literally hit the two nearest targets, dealing 133 damage. Affected targets are blind for 1.5 seconds, and the basic attacks are going to miss and deal no damage. This is really important now in this game, because we're playing against a melee mob, where we just get, I think the enemy gets 4 melee heroes. So this is really important. And then Fast Feet is her trait. Upon taking damage, your basic ability cooldowns refresh 50% faster, and you gain 10% movement speed for 1 second. So this means that no matter what damage you take, so for example minions or mercenaries or enemy heroes, you will have this active. You can keep this up as much as you want by taking damage. Obviously you have to be careful because you can die still, and your life can run out. But this basically makes LiLi very strong, because she can reduce her cooldowns by a lot when she gets hit. And then obviously the movement speed also helps you to escape if you get into trouble. Jug of 1,000 Cups is the heroic that most people go for when you need more healing. Channel up for 6 seconds, every 0.25 seconds heal the lowest health nearby allied hero for 70 health, and increase the cooldown of Jug of 1,000 Cups by 2 seconds up to 50. So the cooldown is normally 20 seconds, so you can start and cancel directly. If you're quick enough, it will be probably like, you know, 22, 24 seconds. But if you let it run out fully, it's 50 seconds. The cool thing about this, I first thought when they changed it to this, it was a nerf to LiLi's cups, but actually it's a buff, because if you get interrupted now, at the beginning of channeling cups, it only has a shorter cooldown than it would have had before, when it went on full cooldown whenever you got stunned. So that's a really good thing. And then second, the ability for yourself to cancel it if you don't need the full health or full healing. So basically, if you, for example, only need like 6-7 cups on somebody, you can do that and then cancel it, and then you have a shorter cooldown. So for example, if you did a boss and you heal up your allies, that will allow you to just cancel it, and then in the next team fight you should have the spell up again because the cooldown is not as high. Water Dragon is the damage heroic. Cooldown 45 seconds. LiLi channels for 2 seconds, summoning a Water Dragon that hits the nearest enemy hero within 12 range. Again, no targeting, it just targets automatically. And all enemies near them are dealt 300 damage, and the movement speed is slowed by 70% for 4 seconds. Again, this is just on proximity, so the closest enemy to you will be hit. That means the enemy can also change the target by, for example, the tank moving in and protecting their backline. That's a basics kit. We're gonna go over talents, and we're gonna do it a little differently than we did in the past. We're gonna go picture in picture here, just to give you a little bit more insight on the talents, because I feel like the the hot slogs talents are not descriptive enough. So we go and look first at the win rate. She is, as you can see, in the top 3 on hot slogs at the moment, with a 54% win rate. As you can see, obviously also the other heroes that are up here are not necessarily reflective of what you might see in Hero League. And then obviously popularity makes a lot of difference as well. Gazelle with a 7% popularity on the highest win rate means normally that only very skilled Gazelle players are playing. LiLi though, pretty high popularity, one of the highest popularity among healers, and there's definitely people saying that she is actually pretty powerful at the moment and you should be able to pick her in pretty much every game. I wouldn't agree so much because she definitely struggles in some situations that we'll see, but it's definitely she's definitely at a good point at the moment. Okay, let's look at talents. This obviously again is Master, and then last 7 days. Free drinks, healing brew costs reduced on low health targets. So basically, if you heal a target that is low, the cooldown is reduced, which is amazing already, and then also the mana cost is refunded if the hero is under 50% health. There you go. This is currently the high pick target. Funnily enough, a couple of weeks ago when I first looked into LiLi, the Eager Wanderer, Eager Adventurer, which gives you more fast feed duration, so basically more cooldown reduction, and this case with the talent also more mana regeneration, was on a lower win rate and a higher popularity. So that switched a little bit, but these two are definitely both all pickable in every situation. Free drinks gives you a little bit more early game healing, because in the early game, in my opinion, a lot of heroes drop lower in health more easily, so there's no spell shield, there's no different armor types that people might get through other buffs or whatever. So people definitely drop below 50% health a lot easier in the early game in the skirmishes. So this will help you have more drinks. That being said, if you run into mana issues a lot with LiLi, you can just also go Eager Adventurer. As you can see, Wind Serpent with the Blinding Wind reduction. On the Wind Serpent, it's not picked a lot. The win rate is also very bad, but basically you can reduce Cloud Serpent cooldown by 4 seconds for each hero hit. That means at the beginning it's 8 seconds maximum, which still leaves you at a 4-second cooldown on the Wind Serpent. I haven't played with this, but again, the Wind Serpent healing is okay, but it's not major, so I can see why this is not very popular. Let's go further down here on level 4. We have Serpent Sidekick, which has okay win rate, but also, as you can see, not a lot of picks. The Serpent duration is increased by 0.6 seconds every time it attacks a hero. This is difficult for multiple reasons, because the attack range is pretty small, which means you don't get a lot of hits out of that, and therefore you don't normally get a lot of value from this. Hindering wins is what everybody goes for, as you can see, 78% pick rate and also 54% win rate. It slows heroes when you hit them with blinding winds. 30% is actually a huge slow, really strong for escaping, but also for chasing up on enemies. We will see it in the replay. I'm using it quite often, and it's my favorite talent on this tier. Safety Sprint is basically a sprint, as we had earlier in the game, in earlier stages of the game. You can activate it to gain a fast feed for 3 seconds. This is pretty good because it activates your trait, so you also have 3 seconds of increased cooldown reduction. But the movement speed is also is increased by to 30%, so you can run away faster. As you can see, the win rate is actually pretty okay, but it's also not picked a lot. Hindering Winds is just so much stronger because this only affects you, while Hindering Winds obviously affects multiple heroes that you can hit with it. So you can also like save your teammates with it because you basically slow their attackers so they can run away. Level 7 is a very interesting talent tier. So the good stuff is what everybody goes for and also has the highest win rate. It allows Healing Brew to heal for additional 42 over 3 seconds. So it's a hot that basically just makes your heal more powerful. And while Fast Feed is active, the heal is also increased by 100%. So if you're in team fights later on, and that's like mid-game or early to mid-game transition, where you will get damage on your LiLi, this means that the heal is much more powerful overall, and this is really great. Lightning Serpent in this case, as you can see, never picked, also has the lowest win rate on this tier. Again, the attack range of the Serpent is pretty small, and then the 50% damage and healing, I think if it was 100%, if it just does the same amount, I think it would be better, but this way it's just not enough to take this on this level, on this talent tier. Let's Go is a cleanse that LiLi has. You can heal an allied hero, so her cleanse version gives you another heal, which is why it's somewhat popular, but nowhere near the good stuff. And then it also gives them unstoppable for 1 second. So it's basically a cleanse with the heal. But the heal is pretty low, 140. It's not, huge, but it's okay. This is obviously has a lower win rate because you have to actually be able to use it, in a competent way. If you just use it as the heal, for example, it doesn't give you as much value as the good stuff does. And if you don't cleanse properly, then this doesn't give you the hopefully most impactful spell in the game, because you don't know how to use it, and then you just use it, and then you still get stunned or whatever. And then again, important thing is the cooldown is also affected by Fast Feed, so that means you can reduce it by taking damage. I've not played with Let's Go a lot. The good stuff is just, in my opinion, much better because a lot of healers don't have cleanse anymore. So I've gotten to used to not having cleanse. So there's that. Let's go down. Level 10. Jug is the most picked heroic, but as you can see, both of them have pretty okay pick rates. Win rates. Water Dragon is just doesn't have any passive benefit for you, which means that it's only offensive in use, and therefore most of the time, as LiLi is picked as a solo support, the Cubs are just much better. On 13 we can see that's the first talent tier which has huge win rate and then also pretty balanced pick rate. This is because there's different applications for everything on these. Gale Force is increasing the blinding wind duration. That means the blind will take longer for 1 second. And then the basic attacks against blinded heroes also increase LiLi's basic attack damage against them by 75%. It's literally very comparable to the Barbarian level 1 talent where you Moonfire and then do damage. This can be used if you snowball very heavily on LiLi, and then also if you just want to lane bully somebody, this can also be very good. Surging Winds, I've seen a LiLi using it in a couple of games against me. I don't see that I'm actually hiding the tooltips over the hot stocks thing. I'm sorry for that, but I'm trying to read talent so that you can see it still. I think the win rate is still very important to see. So if Lightning Wind hits 2 heroes, its cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds, and LiLi gains 10% spell power for 10 seconds. So this is important because you can time it very well if you're a good LiLi player, and then your Blinding Winds first of all only has I think 9 seconds cooldown, right? Yeah, 9-second cooldown, so it's a huge cooldown reduce. But also the spell power gives you more damage on your on the next Blinding Winds, and then also on your heals you do more healing. So this is really strong. Mass Vortex is what I'm going for in this game. Increase the number of enemies hit by Blinding Wind from 2 to 3, and Blinding Wind deals 75% additional damage if all 3 enemies hit are heroes. So this, the damage part is for me not that important, but having the ability to hit and blind 3 heroes in this game was really, really important. As you can see on Hotslooks, all of these are pretty competitive. Obviously Mass Vortex has the highest pick rate because it's the easiest to use in my opinion and gives you pretty good value, but Gale Force has actually a higher win rate, so you can think about that as you want. On 16, the pick rates already are a little bit more back to normal. The 2Q talents, 2 for 1 and Pick Me Up, are, you know, the go-to. 2 for 1 basically is what the name tells you. Healing Brew hits 2 targets, but also the cooldown is increased by 1 second. This can be very powerful in situations where you have a lot of melees around you, or heroes that like soak damage as a duo. So if you have, for example, Tank and Bruiser that always take a lot of damage together in the early game, you can take this one and then hopefully be able to heal them both. The disadvantage of 1 second cooldown increase is obviously significant, so you have to think about that. That being said, the cooldown in general is not that high, and you have fast feet, so if you get a good combination of these, the cooldown doesn't actually go up that much. Pick Me Up is what I'm going for. Healing Brews, healing for heroes is increased by 33% if they are under 50%. So for me, one of the weaknesses that LiLi has is that she doesn't burst heal very well. This helps a little bit with that, because she heals higher on emergency heals, where it's like, hey, this guy is dropping, I need to heal him a lot, and this helps you quite a bit. And then Blessing of Yulon is never picked also because it's, again, Wind Serpent build, which is not very strong in my opinion, and the win rates also show that Cloud Serpent heals its bearer for 1.5% of the maximum health each time it attacks. This can be very strong if you have I want to say at least 2 heroes that have very high health, because they will benefit from this a lot. Like 1.5% of their maximum health is quite a bit. It just doesn't work on squishies because it just does a very minimal heal. So if you, for example, have a Diablo, that could be a very good talent if he's the only frontliner, for example, and he needs those heals. On level 20, we have a couple of choices. Jug of 1,000 Cups, again, is very strong because it heals 2 allies, but it also allows you to you know, you utilize your heal a little bit better, because you with the cancelling and everything can again do boss plays or whatever. So this is why it's picked a lot. As you can see, the win rate is on this tier is very high, but your heroic, upgrading your heroic oftentimes gives you a lot of power. That's basically it. Double Dragon, very similar to Jug of a Million Cups. Sorry, actually didn't know that it was called a Million Cups. I didn't even check. You normally only learn what they do and not learn the names. Double Dragon summons 2 dragons. That's pretty much it. And then Mistweaver is what I'm going for most of the time. Activate to heal nearby heroes for 165 basic attacks and Cloud Serpent attacks. Reduce the cooldown of Mistweaver by 1%. Sorry, by 1 second. So this is a 30-second cooldown, and it is a 165 heal. So this is incredibly strong because, in my opinion, because it gives you a second heal on an only 30-second cooldown, and you can reduce the cooldown by attacking things. So this, for me, is incredible and really powerful. Shake It Off is the last one. As you can see, it's pretty much the lowest picked talent on this tier, because Double Dragon obviously doesn't get picked as much because you don't pick Water Dragon as much. Not Water Dragon. It's called Water Dragon, yeah, sorry. So Shake It Off is gain 8 armor per second while Fast Feet is active up to 30 armor. This is not super strong. I can see it happening if you, for some reason, were back all game long and then you get into late game with a miracle defense or whatever, and then they always focus you and you take this, so you don't get focused as quickly. But that being said, if you get focused, your team does something wrong, and you also position yourself in a bad way, because with Fast Feet you should never be out of position too long, even with, you know, people damaging you. Okay, that's it. As you can see, again, the win rate is later. The later the game goes, the better LiLi gets. So her level 20 win rate is actually incredible high. So take that into consideration when you pick her. Let's have a last look at my LiLi before we jump into replay. There you go. So my win rate is pretty low, 48%. Generally speaking, everything below 50% for me is low. because I normally only select heroes in Hero League if I know how to play them properly, which means, in my opinion, that they should be above 50%. That being said, it's only 50 games that I played with her, and my KDA is actually pretty high. She is one of my favorite supports this season, but in my opinion, only a very niche pick. You can't pick her all the time, but I will explain more about that once you jump into the replay. So yeah, let's go. Okay, here we are in Volskaya Foundry, which is one of the late game maps, which obviously also improves. I slowed a little bit further. My wish to pick LiLi, and then we look at the enemy team, and you can see why we picked LiLi, or why I picked LiLi in this case. So they have Muradin, Butcher, Varian, and Greyman, which is 4 melee heroes. I mean, Greyman can do a little bit of range attacks as well, but he is also affected by blind. So this composition that they drafted led me to actually pick LiLi in this situation. I probably would have picked a different healer if they had a mage in there, but with that many melees, LiLi is the perfect healer for this situation. First of all, they don't have a lot of burst. They have obviously Colossus Smash possibilities, and then Taunt, and you know, like, that's 2 heroics from Varian that can do some damage in a burst fashion, because they first of all either reduce armor or put you into a bad position. That being said, other than that, they only have Go for the Throat, and that's it. Other than that, nobody has really like damage that will make a big difference. As you can see here on the Junkrat, that's the healing indicator for LiLi, to show you first of all if you're in range of the heal, and then second of all who you're going to heal if you know there's multiple targets. I went with 3 drinks on level 1 again. I think early game is probably the weakest time for LiLi. She has quite a bit of issues dealing with the early game harassment and the early game skirmishes that happen. I wanted to see if we can maybe gank the Butcher because it was already so low. Great gank by our Diablo. At the moment I don't have any tools to help with ganks. Like, there's nothing that we can do or that I can do with LiLi that to increase a gank success. I don't have the slow, I don't have a root, so this is also something that you have to keep in mind. Here you can see I use my Wind Serpent, Cloud Serpent on Thrall, so that he can get some heals from the attacks that the Wind Serpent, the Cloud Serpent does. Her W. So early game she definitely suffers from burst heroes. The good thing is in this case, again, they don't have anything bursty at the beginning of the game. Sure, they can, you know, with heroics and everything, it's going to be changing a little bit, but overall the timing of this is pretty perfect for us, because when they get heroics and get burst a little bit, I also get heroics. I should be getting heroics soon, so I'm pretty happy. I'm just trying to weave in a couple of auto attacks with LiLi. They don't do a lot of damage after the support nerf, but it's still better to do something. I would also advise to not use Blinding Winds just against the minion wave too often, because it costs quite a bit of mana, and as you can see I'm trying to stay above 90% mana as much as I can, just to make sure that I can always heal my team and don't run out of mana, and especially don't run out of blinds when I need them. We unfortunately lose our Junkrat, but he also kills the Butcher with some help. So this is where LiLi again struggles quite a bit, but as you can see, my heal with the level 1 talent was actually up again very quickly, so it wasn't too bad. Again, using my blind here against the Varian, who does quite a bit of damage, especially with Heroic Strike, so if I'm lucky I can hit him with Blinding Winds when he has the cooldown of Heroic Strike up, and then he just misses the attack and doesn't do more damage to us. This is where LiLi honestly struggles quite a bit. She's a pretty crap solo laner. She doesn't do a lot of damage, like 76 per minion, and then I'm just using my Serpent to do more attacks. But as you can see, it's not very effective. Just blinding the Greyman to to avoid some of the damage. So this is one of the things that I shouldn't be doing that much. My solo laning is obviously crap. My team leads me mid, so I decided to go down after they ping me. I think somebody else should have gone up. Us going in here is actually pretty bad, because we're so close to level 7, and they have pretty much the tree glove secured, so us going in was just a bad idea. We should have just soaked the XP instead of trying to contest this. The first tree glove is also so weak that it doesn't really make sense to be this aggressive. So level 7, I went for the Let's Go for only one reason, which is basically the Butcher Heroic Lamb to the Slaughter. I don't want people to get lammed and then just killed by that, because that's going to be very difficult for me to heal. Like if somebody gets taunted or lammed, I'm going to have a hard time healing that. As you can see, the tree glove didn't do anything, and I'm pretty happy to heal things. If you look, Lucio and I are pretty similar on healing, which is incredible because Lucio is such a good sustain healer, who basically heals anybody who's in range, right? So, because I missed it on level 4, I've used Hindering Winds. We missed the kill here. If the Junkrat hits his mind properly, then get it. But Hindering Winds is now a little bit something that I can do to help with ganks. The slow will help not only me escaping, but also setting up a couple of heroes because they can't engage with me. I used the winds here just to dismount the Meridian because they were ganking, and I was a little afraid that he might be jumping on me. Also not very afraid of their ganks. LiLi is pretty elusive with their with the movement speed, 10%. Even with 2 stuns, or the stun and the slow that they currently have, we're actually pretty fine. As you can see, like the Varian, even with the Lucio as a support, had to be peeled out quite heavily because of the slow that I put on him. Because it is very easy to catch up with somebody who's slow by 30%. Overall, this map, again, tends to go longer, so I'm happy to pick LiLi here into this situation. But if you look at the damage that they can do, and if you look at the damage in general, the Greyman has lots of damage done already, but Butcher, for example, is pretty low because he needs his stacks. And even if he has his stacks, if I can blind him when he goes in, it's going to be very, very difficult. And you can see even Lucio gets slowed quite a bit, even though he has his speed aura up. Getting closer to level 10, I'm gonna go Cups here. And we actually saw a little bit of a surprise here, because the Varian went taunt even though they had Meridian as a tank, so they went double tank basically. I think that with Colossus Smash they probably would have had better engagement into us, and then also a lot of more damage. The plant here wasn't very well done because I didn't hit the Greyman, who does the most damage to all buildings. This is also very interesting. We only have one high health target, which is Diablo, so the Cursed Bullet of Greyman actually doesn't do that much. It only does something against him, which against Diablo, which is cool because he's our only tanky frontline. But for example, Thrall just is a frontline by sustaining himself. So I think go for the throw would have been better because it is really good against Junkrat, LiLi, and Genji. So not only do we have a pretty good composition. So I made 2 mistakes here. First of all, I didn't react properly, and I actually wanted to let the Diablo die when my team engaged. I think I should have read it better, and let's have a look again and look more on me. Because I saw the engagement, right? So a little bit further back. And we're gonna look in without my vision, we're gonna look like this. So we're all gathered here, and now we don't see this gang coming here. And I'm going top, and there's for me no reason necessarily to go top, but I want to help get the camp because somebody's pinging it. So I'm doing this, and now I see that there's 4 heroes. Like I should be able to see this, right? See 4 heroes. I actually see 5 heroes. So there's no reason for me to still go up here. I'm still going up, going up. And now I just realized that something's happening. Okay, so turn around. And now I already have decided that the Diablo's dead. I'm not using Cleanse, which I should be. Like, still no Cleanse. I also use the Wind Serpent, which is... Well, yeah, the Wind Serpent, which is fine. But nothing else is happening. And that's one of the issues that LiLi has. If you can see, now I'm in range. And it's still grayed out, actually. So I couldn't even use my Q before I used my Heroic, which is one of the reasons that LiLi struggles with early game ganks like this, because you basically run into situations where you literally can't heal anybody because you're not in range. The range is pretty low. See if we can actually see that. When it comes off cooldown, I guess. We can even see it in a replay. Interesting. But yeah, the range is pretty low. Pretty late cleanse by me, but I was quite confident that he would be able to get throw out, because he has a lot of sustain and he didn't look like he wasn't fighting. So while the cleanse was a little late, or the let's go was a little late, I think it was okay. And this now is going to be at the point where LiLi starts to be much better from level 13 on against this composition. I'm going to blind more targets soon, and then I'm also getting more and more heal. That was a very bad Cloud Serpent usage, because it doesn't attack anything, so I just use it a cooldown on for no reason. That being said, it's already ready, so not the end of the world. I should heal him. Yeah, perfect. Again, them going into me was one of the things that I was very afraid of. Good use of cups, and then again I cancel it already because Diablo is full, so I'm hoping to get a little bit lower cooldown on the cups. Genji wasn't in range, so I'm happy to cancel it and then hopefully be able to use it again in this team fight. Okay, we go for Mass Vortex on 13 again, more targets to be blinded, which will allow me to be even more effective against this this melee mob. Our team also plays it very well. Again, look at how many people are blinded. Great Apocalypse defensively. Again, I keep my let go active, or I don't use it until very, very late. Would definitely be better, I think. Great movement by the Genji. But if you look back at the team fight again, this is where LiLi just, you know, shines with the kit that she has. A little bit further back even. There you go. So we are pretty much clumped. The enemy team wants to engage into us. So their engagement is basically Varian, Muradin, and Butcher charging in. Butcher using Land of the Slaughter, Varian taunting somebody. So I want to be as far back as I can. But now I have the problem that my Junkrat is taunted. So I should be using Let's Go actually here, I think. That being said, he gets away pretty much, and I also see that he has his mine on the bottom, so he normally shouldn't be dead. I'm using the Cloud to blind only Muradin. So the range is pretty low, and I make the mistake to only use it on one target, which is really bad. That being said, we also then mix Sunder and Epoch, which gives us further trouble because we basically counter each other. That being said, it is okay to disengage. Now somebody is silenced. He's full health, so I don't think that Let's Go would have been necessary for you now. Great Riptire, and now I should use Let's Go on the Diablo. He's done first of all, but also he's super low, and my heal is on cooldown. So I'm using it now, so he gets a little bit of a heal. But it's a little late. I think if they focus more, they probably would have gotten us. And now I have cups ready again, so we just clean up. But you can see that I have very small cooldowns, so I'm actually pretty much able to just always use my spells all the time, which makes LiLi very powerful. Look at stats. Again, I'm still pretty much close with Lucio, which is interesting to say the least, because again, he's sustain healer. He just heals all the time. So you can see that's one of the things that LiLi is doing, which is, I think, neglected by a lot of people in Hero League. She has her issues, especially against hard CC and teams that focus her down heavily, or that target switch. So they bring down one target, and while you heal it, they just kill another target, because LiLi can't deal with these situations. So in Pro Play, that's one of the reasons she's not played as much, but I think in Hero League she's definitely undervalued and obviously also underestimated. As you can see, I'm staying way back because I'm pretty afraid of being engaged by the Butcher. And this is one of the things that you have to do with LiLi. Your positioning has to be on point. In this situation, they have so much hard to see that I can't be anywhere near them, otherwise I'm probably dead. And they have also a couple of ways to interrupt my cups, so even if I get caught and think I can get away and use cups to heal myself, it's going to be difficult because they can stun me, they can interrupt me, they can silence me with a couple of ways, you know, so I just have to play very safe. On 16, I'm going for Pick Me Up. It's the best target heal talent for me this game. As you can see, or as you saw in the couple of fights before, they definitely drop my targets pretty low, so I just want to be able to give them a little bit more heal. And I missed the heal over time already on level 7, so I think this was the best choice because it just gives me more ways to heal my team more significantly. We have a pretty big lead now. We played the first couple of protectors very well. We got the first one, and then we also... Sorry, we let the first one go, but didn't lose a lot in the first one, and then we got the second one to give us an effort. So we are pretty okay. That being said, with the next protector, even though the control point will unlock, says on the right side, it will not unlock. They will catch up on level 16 very easily. They use the Cloud Serpent here just for a little bit of damage increase. It doesn't do a lot of DPS, but again, the cooldown is not that high, and if you don't land on team fighting, it's okay to use it. I get stunned here for no reason. Good dodge by the Genji. Oh, sorry, by the Junkrat. And again, you can see here the bullet is pretty strong on Diablo, but it's the only target that you can hit with it and do a lot of damage. So we're happy with that. You can also see that the Butcher still doesn't have his stacks done. 40 minutes into the game, we haven't given up a lot of kills, 6 only, and then always killed him, I think. So he definitely has the unfortunate situation that he can't stack very easily because in the solo lanes when they left him there, we normally also just killed him.
An access terminal will be online in a moment.
So this little bit of the mid game that you have with LiLi, mid to end game is, or late game is where you don't do a lot of damage anymore. You try to just stay safe and heal. She definitely needs a strong team around her. She doesn't do perks very well. She doesn't clear anything very well. She also doesn't pay attention, so her teammate dies. This is solely on me. I should not have missed the cleanse there. Now I hit 3 targets with the blind, and this is actually pretty huge because they can't kill me, or they can kill us now. And that was pretty significant. I used Let's Go here, not necessarily to prevent a stun, but to also activate the heal that he gets. It's a small heal, as I said, but he was super low, so I was just I just wanted to make sure that we get him out alive. And as you can see, this takes ages, so she definitely needs a good, strong team. Like if you have already like another support, or maybe even a tank that doesn't do a lot of damage, or like 2 warriors, LiLi might not be great because her damage output definitely suffered from the nerfs to the Wind Serpent, or Cloud Serpent, or W. And you can't go Cloud Serpent build anymore because it doesn't do a lot of damage increase, it's more utility. So she definitely suffers if her team doesn't have wave clear or a lot of damage. Just keep that in mind. You saw it as well, like when they engage the Junkrat, I can't do anything except blinding the target, and in this case I didn't even cleanse him, even though I should have. So. But with me trying to position myself really far back, it also is difficult for me to be at the right time, at the right place. Because her spells are pretty low range. Misty Cleanse is the same range for everybody, but it definitely this is something that you have to be aware of. Also important, don't go into the Trigger Protector as a healer. Unless you used all of your cooldowns and you're like super low on life, it's very, very dangerous for your team to go in. What the Lucio is doing here is also stupid because like, I don't know if he tries to buy time for his Greymane and the Butcher or something, but we're level 20, so him trying to skate around us there is very, very dangerous. Our Thrall gets a kill top lane against the Greymane, which is even worse for them, because we're level 20, so we have pretty high chance of just winning. Again, because my teammates are in the tree glove and the Junkrat is in front of me as the only target, I'm staying way, 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 way back. I can't heal the tree glove anyway, so I'm not willing to go in. Just use my blind here to reduce the damage a little bit, but it's not huge because they don't do a lot of damage without damage build, like the variant does do. This is one of the issues. I get taunted here, but my Junkrat actually saves me. But you can see this is what I wanted to avoid by staying back, and then I just got impatient. Went for Mistweaver on 20, and as you can see I already used it, and then the cooldown is up again. It's really, really strong, I think, in my opinion. Is ridiculous how much heal you can get out of it. Good engage by us. This is a little bit of the thing that you need to know about LiLi as well. Her gameplay is not very interesting in the way of, like, you don't have that much engagement with the team fights. Like, you do blind and you do try to get slows and everything, but you don't do flashy plays like with Lucio where you can boop somebody into a mosh pit or cancel a mosh pit or something like that. You are very basic in what you do, but you're very good at what you do as well. Not paying attention actually on... yeah, there you go. It's one of the things that I have trouble with. When I'm attacking something, I'm oftentimes focused on what I'm attacking instead of looking at the map. While looking at the minimap is pretty okay already, you should try to have your camera always set more to your teammates rather than on the thing you're attacking, especially if it doesn't do anything. Like the heal bot there doesn't have an AoE splash or a very dangerous attack, so me looking at it while I'm attacking it is actually pretty bad. Again, you can see how far back I am for the sole reason that I don't want to be charged by the Butcher, and I actually don't want to be dismounted either. We get another fort. We're still up 20 to 19, so we wanted to invade here. They get 20 now, and the Butcher also got his quest done, so we're actually a little bit endangered here in this situation. Again, they don't see me. I'm trying to hide in the bush, just, again, only to not be hit by anything that the Butcher can do. I'm more afraid of the Butcher than I am of the taunt and the Murden. We're pretty split here, so I have to be careful. Again, using cups, and then I'm gonna cancel it. There you go. And only has 38-second cooldown now. So this is one of the things that you can do. I should be taunted. I should be cleansing here, but I didn't do it because I was very sure that they wouldn't do a lot of damage. And then we just walk into this, and this was very, very scary. But fortunately for us, as soon as we're not silenced anymore, we get the heal pack out. So this was really bad by me because I was so afraid of being butchered and left with the slaughtered all the time, and then when it actually is scary, I'm not paying attention and walk into this. So there's that. overall now we're gonna finish the game, obviously. Um, and their team definitely struggled against my LiLi. I'm gonna pause it here now because we're just gonna finish and wrap up the game. Let's look at stats a little bit. As you can see, the Greyman still did a lot of damage, but other than that, all of their damage dealers, everybody is below our tank. I'm not saying this is only because of my blinds. Obviously, the Butcher also died 7 times, so that's an issue, but you can see that it definitely affected a lot of the stuff they were able to do. Overall, I let my teammates die a little bit. I didn't die at all, and my healing is actually very comparable to what the Lucio does. Again, late game Lucio with Bring It Together, he didn't even take the crossfade, but the crossfade upgrade on 20, but this is really good. Like, I have also seen games where you have much more healing, especially when you don't have to go of Let's Go on 7. The hot actually also improves your healing by quite a bit. So having to use Let's Go, it's a little bit sad, but against what they had, it was necessary, even though I didn't do it very well, which is, again, one of the reasons why this talent, I think, has a very low win rate, because, well, comparatively a very low win rate, because you actually have to use it in ways where it matters. And except 2 situations, I didn't use it when it mattered. So take that with a grain of salt. Other than that, that's pretty much the game. We just gonna win here. I'm using cups again. Just pushing a little bit the heal stats, and then obviously we're gonna finish this game. Yeah, but overall this was a perfect LiLi game. I think I played it very okay as well. I'm not a huge LiLi player, so I don't, have super much experience with her. But it worked very well. Overall, I had also the best killing spree because I didn't die. But yeah, that's how LiLi plays and what you can do with her. If you have any questions about her, obviously let me know in the comments. But yeah, I enjoyed playing her in this game, and I will probably enjoy playing her a couple more times this season when occasion arises. But that's it for me for today. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I will hopefully be back with a more detailed guide on Hero League drafting next week. I have pretty much all the materials now. I just have to get the script ready and film it, and then hopefully we'll see each other on Sunday again, and you will have a new guide. Until then, I hope you have a good one, and I see you next time. Bye bye.